Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Neshtiki. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Caitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirviseshasha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Panchakalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we continue reading from our Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 3, Chapter 5, and we are text 5. Vidur is approached Maitreya Muni. So, and he's putting some questions to Maitreya Muni. Karoti karmani krita bataro yani atmatantro bhagvam strayatishaha yatha sasar Jagra idam niriha samsthapya vrittim jagato vidhate. O great sage, kindly narrate how the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the independent, desireless Lord of the three worlds and the controller of all energies, accepts incarnations and creates the cosmic manifestation with perfectly arranged regulative principles for its maintenance. So we can see that Maitreya, Vidur is putting very important questions to Maitreya Muni. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Lord Krishna is the original personality of Godhead from whom the three creative incarnations, namely the Purusha avatars, Karanavashai Vishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and Shirodakshai Vishnu expand. So we know that this material world is created by Mahavishnu, the Karana Dakshai Vishnu, who's lying on the Karana ocean. From his breathing, so many universes are coming out as bubbles. And then he enters into each universe as Garbhodakshai Vishnu. And then within the universe, he enters into every atom as the Shirodakshai Vishnu. And all these Vishnus, they're coming from where? They're all expansions of Krishna. Krishna is the origin of all incarnations, of all expansions. The whole material creation is conducted by the three Purushas in successive stages under the external energy of the Lord. And thus, material nature is controlled by him. So what we can see here in our experience, whatever we are seeing in this material world, except the living entity, is the material energy of the Lord, the external energy. So right now, whatever we are seeing, what is living, that is the spirit soul, and the what is non-living matter, that is the external energy of Krishna. Thinking material nature to be independent is like seeking milk from the nipple-like bags on the neck of a goat. Now, you know, there are goats, and on the goat's neck, there is nipples. But if we think that we can get milk from these nipples, we are mistaken. And we can try to milk it as long as we want, but no milk is going to come out from them. Similarly, if we think that this material nature, she's independent, then we are mistaken. Because material nature is under the control of Krishna. She's not independent. She does not, it's not that at one point material nature decided, okay, now I'm going to manifest myself. Oh, now I've had enough, I'm going to unmanifest myself. No, it's all according to the will of Krishna. When he decides, then the creation happens. So the Lord is independent and desireless. He does not create the material world for his own satisfaction, as we create our household affairs to fulfill our material desires. So Krishna is not enjoying in this material world. He does not want to enjoy with this material world. He's created for us. He did not create it for himself. Actually, the material world is created for the illusory enjoyment of the conditioned souls who have been against the transcendental service of the Lord since time immemorial. So illusory enjoyment. So Krishna has created this material world because we told Krishna, I don't want to serve you. Why should I serve you? I want to enjoy like you. You are enjoying, I want to be the enjoyer also. So in the spiritual world, we cannot do that. So Krishna created this material world to give us an experience. Okay, you want to enjoy, you go to the material world and enjoy. But we can see that we are controlled, we are not independent. Even being under this material energy, we are controlled by the modes of nature. We are not independent. We cannot decide when to be born, when to die, where to be born, where to die. We cannot decide, oh, I don't want this disease, it should go away. How much ever we want to change the situation or circumstance, we are unable to. So many things we can see that we are not independent. But the material universes are full in themselves. There is no scarcity for maintenance in the material world. Because of their poor fund of knowledge, the materialists are disturbed when there is an apparent increase of population on the earth. Now, in Isopanisad, the mantra, it says that Krishna, that the Supreme Lord is the complete whole, and from him is emanating so many complete units. So these material universes are emanating from Krishna, and they are complete in itself. We can see that this planet is self-sustaining. We are not importing anything from Mars or Venus or Jupiter. Like here, from one country to another, we import foodstuff or electronics or, you know, whatever, general merchandise. But from the earth, we are not saying, oh, we need to import oxygen or we need to import something. No, everything is there in this material universe. Whatever we need is there within the universe, right? And there is a misconception that, oh, if the population increases more of human beings, there will be no food. No, there is enough food. There is enough for everyone's need, but not for everyone's greed. Whenever there is a living being on the earth, however, his subsistence is immediately arranged by the Lord. The other species of living entities who far outnumber human society are never disturbed for maintenance. They're never seen dying of starvation. It is only human society that is disturbed about the food situation. And to cover up the real fact of administrative mismanagement, takes shelter in the plea that the population is excessively increasing. So Prabhupada is putting a very valid point that human beings, if we count the number of human beings, we are 7 billion on this earth. But if we count all the other species, animals, aquatics, birds, trees, reptiles, germs, there's so many more living entities, and then there is enough food for them. Elephant, how much food an elephant eats? But there is enough food. The only thing is that there is mismanagement in the administration. If there is any scarcity in the world, it is the scarcity of God consciousness. Otherwise, by the grace of the Lord, there is no scarcity of anything. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So going on to text 6. Yatha punaha svekha idam niveshya shete guhayam sanivritta vrittihi yogeshwaradheshwara eka etad anupravishto bahuda yathasit. He lies down on his own heart spread in the form of the sky, and thus placing the whole creation in that space, he expands himself into many living entities, which are manifested as different species of life. He does not have to endeavor for his maintenance, because he's the master of all mystic powers and the proprietor of everything. Thus, he is distinct from the living entities. The questions regarding creation, maintenance, and destruction, which are mentioned in many parts of the Srimad Bhagavatam, are in relation to different millenniums, kalpas, and therefore they're differently described by different authorities when questioned by different students. There is no difference regarding the creative principles and the Lord's control over them. Yet, there are some differences in the minute details because of different kalpas. Okay, so in Bhagavatam, in many places, there is questions and answers regarding the creation, because everyone wants to know, oh, why is this creation there? How does it happen? So depending on who is explaining it at what different time, there is certain differences, but the principle is the same. That there are only minute details which are different. But the principle is the same, that the Lord creates this universe. Then Mahavishnu creates it. Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is there, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu is there. The gigantic sky is the material body of the Lord, called the Virat Purusha, and all material creations are resting on the sky or the heart of the Lord. So the Virat Purusha is the universal form of the Lord. Where all this material elements, the planets, everything we can see in the body of the Lord, that's the Virat Purusha. Therefore, beginning from the sky, the first material manifestation to the gross vision down to the earth, everything is called Brahman. Brahman. Now, the sky is the most subtle of the gross elements. Ether. Sky, then a little more gross than sky is air. Then from air we get fire. Then from fire, water. And then water, and then earth. So we can see that it goes from the most subtle to the most gross. And so the qualities also keep on increasing. And this material energy of the Lord is also Brahman, because she is coming from the Lord. Everything is Brahman actually. Sarvam Khalav Idam Brahma. There is nothing but the Lord, and he is one without a second. Everything, everyone is coming from the Lord. Krishna is the origin of everything. Krishna is the origin of everyone. So because Krishna is the supreme Brahman, and then everything that's coming out from him, that's his, it's also called Brahman. The living entities are the superior energies, whereas matter is the inferior energy. And the combination of these energies brings about the manifestation of this material world, which is in the heart of the Lord. So here it is a little differently described. Of course, that the living beings as Krishna's superior energy, matter is inferior energy, it's always there. Now this combination, whatever we see in this material world is a combination of the dead matter and of the living entities. And then it is said that everything is resting in the heart of the Lord. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Text 7.
So this they are trying to tell to Vidur, Maitreya Muni, because now Vidur is curious about the creation and maintenance, right?
Yeah, so Vidur is asking.
And Maitreya Muni is telling Vidurji about it.
He has not yet started speaking. This Vidur is putting forth these questions.
Okay. Okay. This is just the questions put by Vidurji.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kridan vidate dvijago suranam shema yakarmani avatara bhedehe manona tripyati apishanvatam naha shushloka maules charitamritani. You may narrate also about the auspicious characteristics of the Lord in his different incarnations for the welfare of the twice born, the cows, and the demigods. Our minds are never satisfied completely, although we continuously hear of his transcendental activities. So, this is how a devotee is. A devotee always wants to continue hearing the pastimes of the Lord, even though he has heard the same pastime. But he wants to continue to hear. We will say, oh, again, the same. I've already heard Putana's story. How many times will I hear it? But the pure devotees, they relish it more and more. So the Lord appears in this universe in different incarnations like Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, and Nishimha. And he manifests his different transcendental activities for the welfare of the twice born, the cows, and the demigods. The Lord is directly concerned with the twice born or civilized man. A civilized man is one who has taken his birth twice. Now, what does it mean taking birth twice? Is it that we come out of our mother's womb twice? No. A living entity takes birth in this mundane world due to the union of male and female. A human being is born due to the union of the father and mother, but a civilized human being has another birth by contact with a spiritual master who becomes the actual father. So this is so important. Now we all call ourselves human being, but what does Bhagavatam say? Bhagavatam says that you're civilized only when you have taken initiation, only when you have come in contact with a spiritual master. The father and mother of the material body are so only in one birth, and in the next birth, the father and mother may be a different couple, but the bona fide spiritual master, as the representative of the Lord, is the eternal Father, because the spiritual master has the responsibility to lead the disciple to spiritual salvation or the ultimate goal of life. Therefore, a civilized man must be twice born, otherwise he is no more than the lower animals. So the relationship between the spiritual master and the disciple is eternal, because the spiritual master takes that responsibility that I will take this soul back to Godhead, back to Krishna. The cow is the most important.
Is it the birth after birth? Like in this birth, you accept a spiritual master. So like he was there in your previous birth also, or will he take in the next birth also? Like how?
So till the time we are in the material world, if we have accepted a spiritual master in this life, he will keep coming again and again till the time we actually go back. But then Prabhupada would say that don't make the spiritual master come back so many times. Take up the process seriously so you can go back home in this one life.
Okay.
The cow is the most important animal for developing the human body to perfection. The body can be maintained by any kind of foodstuff, but cow's milk is particularly essential for developing the finer tissues of the human brain so that one can understand the intricacies of transcendental knowledge. So milk is especially important for us to get that spiritual understanding. And that's why mother cow is so important. A civilized man is expected to live on foodstuffs comprising fruits, vegetables, grains, sugar, and milk. The bull helps in the agricultural process of producing grain, etc. And thus, in one sense, the bull is the father of mankind, whereas the cow is the mother, for she supplies milk to human society. A civilized man is therefore expected to give all protection to the bulls and cows. But we can see in the current state of society, we are caring not for the bulls and neither for the bulls nor for the cows. We are in fact mistreating them and torturing them. Instead of the bull to help in agricultural process, we use tractors. And then the bulls, what we do? We cut them to eat the flesh. And the cows, she is supposed to be the mother. We are supposed to drink the, we are taking the milk from her. She is our mother. And yet, what is being done? We are sending her to the slaughterhouse. So that is the sad state of affairs in the Kali Yuga. The demigods or the living entities who live in the higher planets are far superior to human beings. Since they have better arrangements for living conditions, they live far more luxuriously than human beings, yet they are all devotees of the Lord. So the demigods, there are so many higher planets. No? This Earth is a middle planetary system. There are lower planets and then there are higher planets. So in the higher planets, there lives the demigods and other more qualified living beings. And over there, the living accommodations, the living conditions are much more luxurious than here. How much we want to enjoy. See, if we go to a 2-star hotel, then we go 3-star, 4-star, 5-star, it's different, right? The luxury that is provided. That's why the stars are given. And that's maybe 7-star hotel we go, so it's even more luxurious. But in the heavenly planets, it's even more luxurious than here. And the demigods, they're devotees of the Lord. They are devotees. But we should not try to go to the heavenly planet. Oh, let me go live in 5-star hotel, 7-star hotel, it's more luxurious. So let me go to stay in the heavenly planet, it's more luxurious. No, rather we should desire to transfer ourselves back home, back to Godhead, to Golok Vrindavan, where it's the most luxurious. No need to ever come back again to the material world. The Lord incarnates in different forms, such as those of a fish, a tortoise, a hog, and a combined lion and man, just to give protection to civilized man, the cow, and the demigods, who are directly responsible for the regulative life of progressive self-realization. So who remembers what's the name of the incarnation of the fish? Does anybody know that?
Matsya.
Matsya Avatar.
Yeah. And tortoise?
Kurma.
Kurma.
That's right. A hog?
Varaha.
Varaha.
No, Varaha is a
That's right.
pig.
Varaha. And combined lion and man?
Narsimha.
That's right. Yeah. So Krishna comes in different species, different forms. So then does it mean like a hog's body is dirty, right? So does it mean that when Krishna is coming as Varahadev, it's a dirty body? No, it's also Sachidananda. It is Sachidananda because it's Krishna himself. It's Krishna himself. And he's taking different forms which is suitable for that particular circumstance, that suitable pastime. Okay. The whole system of the material creation is planned so that the conditioned souls may have the opportunity for self-realization. One who takes advantage of such an arrangement is called a demigod or civilized man. The cow is meant to help maintain such a high standard of living. So Krishna has planned this creation is just so that we can get out of here, so that we can realize who we truly are. We have an opportunity for self-realization. So we should take advantage of it. We should not just waste our whole life in material desires, but endeavor for self-realization. The Lord's pastimes for the protection of the twice-born civilized men, the cows and the demigods are all transcendental. A human being is inclined to hear good narrations and stories, and therefore there are so many books, magazines, and newspapers on the market to satisfy the interests of the developed soul. But the pleasure in such literature after it is read once becomes stale, and people do not take any interest in reading such literature repeatedly. In fact, newspapers are read for less than an hour and then thrown in the dustbins as rubbish. So in those days, people were reading more of the physical newspaper. Now it's on the internet. But we can also see how much interest do we have in yesterday's news. Today's news, yes, people will read, oh, let me see what's the news today. But if it is a 1 month old news, we'll say, oh, why shall I waste my time? It's irrelevant. But here we are reading Bhagavatam, which was spoken 5,000 years ago, because it is still as relevant today as it was 5,000 years ago. We can see that there is so much mundane literature, so much novels of different genres, fiction and romance, sports, thriller, so many. And so much time and effort people are spending to publish this, to read this. But all that knowledge is irrelevant. It is irrelevant. The case is similar with all other mundane literatures, but the beauty of transcendental literatures like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam is that they never become old. They have been read in the world by civilized man for the last 5,000 years, and they have never become old. They are ever fresh to the learned scholars and devotees. And even by daily repetition of the words of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, there is no satiation for devotees like Vidur. Vidur might have heard the pastimes of the Lord many times before he met Maitreya, but he still wanted the same narrations to be repeated because he was never satiated by hearing them. That is the transcendental nature of the Lord's glorious pastimes. Krishna's pastimes never become stale because they are spiritual. So spiritual means ever young, ever new, ever blissful. The more we read, the more bliss we feel. And we'll always find something new that we understand. It's never old. The more we read Bhagavad Gita, each time we read Bhagavad Gita, we'll have a newer understanding. Same with Srimad Bhagavatam. Each time we read Srimad Bhagavatam, we can dive deeper and feel more bliss, relish more pleasure. Is that okay? Any questions, comments?
No, it's okay.
No? So we'll stop here for today.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining in. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari.